You're watching Diecast Breakdown with Chuck Ellis, David Johns, and Mark McHotwheel. So sit back, strap in, and hang on. The breakdown starts now.
Well, hey there, folks. Chuck here, and welcome to Diecast Breakdown. We are so excited that you are here with us today. We are going to be breaking down the latest and greatest in diecast collecting, customizing, and culture. But before we do that, I want to give a quick shout out to our patrons that make the show go, especially our executive producer level patrons. That would be Mad Visions, Mr. Twice Diecast. Thank you, David. DrivenDreams.org, First and 64th Customs, Video Geek Productions, and of course, Mr. Dane Self. And a special shout out to Mike's Mods and Customs, who has come in with his own custom patronage that is above and beyond the executive producer level. So I'm going to have to come up with a new tier just for Mike. But, look up his channel and look up his Hobby Town when you get a chance. It's he's doing some awesome stuff. He's collected over 500 cars for Driven Dreams, which, by the way, they are collecting cars now. They have just updated the website, so go check out drivendreams.org so you can get the latest info on our 2024 drive to get 24,000 cars to kids in need in 2024. You don't have to ship anything, you don't have to donate anything over the internet, you just have to show up and pledge your cars and send some kind of proof that you dropped them off at a local charity, shelter, hospital, wherever it is. So anyway, I am going to be talking about tiny cars, but I'm not going to be doing it alone. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. David Johns. David, how the heck are you today?
I'm good, man, and pumped up to have Kent and Brent here. We are really going to have a good episode. You guys need to stick around.
Yes, and we are talking to Kent von Kampen and Brent Hattrick. I hope I said that correctly. From Mid-States Collectors
Club.
Mid-State Collectors Club. I've got it on my notes right in front of me. I should have known that. All right.
Oh, good.
And we're going to be talking to them about Hot Wheels, diecast collecting, running your own club, all sorts of great stuff. But before we do that, I have to turn to my co-host and say, Mr. David Johns, what the heck is exciting you in the world of diecast this week?
A lot of stuff. And I'm going to get Kent and Brent to chime in. Do you guys know, before you put this picture up, viewers, have you heard of Bianti? Bianti does really cool Australian cars in diecast in 164, and they're absolutely premium. Go ahead, Chuck. We have got some new Bianti releases coming out.
There it is.
Check out these Red Bull racers. I don't know how many race car fans we have, but I assure you, if you like rally cars, if you like really solid diecast cars with a racing theme, Bianti is a great brand. Take a look at them on Instagram. Up next, we have got a little bit of time left. If you want to get in on some savings on some greenlight stuff, and you're a dad like me, and you want to buy something you know you're going to like instead of a tie that you may or may not like, they've got a special going on right now through tonight. Hit them up on hit them up on eBay. Last but not least, we have got a new Lambo coming out from Pop Race. You guys know that brand. Kent, Brent, you guys heard of Pop Race?
Sadly, no. I have not. No, I haven't heard of I haven't heard. Yeah.
Well, we were a little late to the game as well. Our buddies at Cast Heads, Nigel and Lance, are real big on Pop Race. They have got this really cool. What is this? This is a Countach, the new LPI 800 out.
That's nice.
And keep an eye out for that. That is going to be dropping pretty soon. Here is one, Chuck, if you'll pan back to me real quick. This is a really cool Honda Civic that Pop Race has done. Looks about as good as Mini GT, maybe the same price or less. Just a great value brand in the premium diecast space. Last thing I've got, guys, I don't know if you guys saw on social media recently, but these were all over Instagram, these floating displays that you could put your diecast cars in.
Yeah.
This Joker this thing was only $3. You get two of them, and they are at your Hobby Lobbies already. Everything you need. It's just kind of a cool way to display diecast. You can see the guys on the show have lots of stuff on display. But if you want something on your desk, and you got that one special one. That's a cool way to display it. $3. That'll get you. Kent's got plenty to pick from.
There it is.
There you go, right there. He's
That's
already
a great use for the Top Gun
absolutely.
F-14.
Look at that. Look how cool that came out.
Yeah, now that you mention it, because I've got that one in the Wonder Woman jet, and that would be perfect for like the two of them together, you know, for my like Hollywood collection. I love
and
that.
The cool thing is,
idea.
Comes with a little stand. You can put it on your desk, or you can put it up like
And it was $3 for two.
$3 for two. You get everything you need.
That's insane.
And it actually worked. Yeah, it worked like it did on the video, which was surprising to me. So
yeah, they're pretty neat. I have one for a challenge coin.
I've got the other one I have actually has a prototype in it for it's just the top body part of it. I don't know where. Oh, there it is. Let me grab it.
All right.
As we move along here.
Well, take your time. Look at that.
Yeah,
oh, nice.
Sweet. So pick out the favorite one. Maybe it's your piece of the week or piece of the month, something you want to display. It's a great deal, Chuck. And that's all I've got.
Okay, well, cool. Well, I've got a few things. First of all, happy belated Memorial Day. And the folks over at M2 Machines and Greenlight both had great posts. By the way, I need to know more about this Mustang, which is sadly no longer available for purchase. It'd be cool if that was in 164. It's probably not. And again, they had that really cool van and truck in the very patriotic themes. I love that 76 van, that bicentennial van. That is super duper cool. I got a bit of a controversial one for you. This motorbike collection from Hot Wheels. How are we feeling about this? Are we into it, or is two wheels bad?
Well, for me, with my collection, if it doesn't stand up on its own, I'm not a big fan of it. But there is a Honda Monkey in there towards the back there, number 5. And I actually looked through these yesterday, and there's a couple of them that are kind of getting my eyes. So the Honda Monkey is definitely coming to the house, and then probably one other one that I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I don't. Diamonds asked if they fit in pocket. I think they're talking about the
little case there.
Cases. I don't know. They might. Depends on the pocket, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Mad Visions has a good question. I'm curious if that paint will ruin the plastic, or that plastic will ruin the paint in the future. That is a good question, because is anybody
probably not going to help it?
As anyone knows, the people who collected those Hot Wheels 100% and the those premium cars from that Hot Wheels put out in the 90s that were in early 2000s, super nice cars. They're now 20 years later, they've been all eaten up.
Unless you ripped them.
Unless you came in and ripped them. We'll be talking more about that in a second. We've also got Diecast Heroes has we were just talking about this before the show, back to the 80s and 90s issue of our friends over at Diecast Heroes magazine. Go pick that up. I need to go. I'm waiting on mine to come in, actually, my print order. So they are back printing. They weren't printing before, but they are back. And it looks like there's a bunch of super cool throwbacks in that issue to look out for. Speaking of, go ahead.
Can we really quickly just give Tony and Carmen, the editors of that magazine, some credit for showcasing you customizers out there? I promise you, if you send pictures to Tony and Carmen, it's probably going to be in an episode or you know what I'm saying, the next issue of Diecast Heroes. Always good to support the customizers, and just wanted to give them a quick shout out.
No, well said. And it's a great magazine. It's a little intense if you've never looked at it before, because it's more like a book than a magazine. And there's a lot of colors and there's a lot of stimulation in there. But if you're a customizer, it's a great resource for learning stuff. There's articles about customizing and photographing your customs and your collections and all that stuff. And just to go back to those motorcycles real quick, I was told by one of our viewers, I think it was Simon, he said it, Simon says that the motorcycles that Hot Wheels does are usually around 1/32 scale. So that if you do 1/32 scale stuff, that is kind of a cool thing to have for your collection there. Speaking of throwing back to the 80s, you may have remembered that Diecast Talk recently did their version of the Marty McFly Toyota, and this is Johnny Lightning's version that will be coming out soon. It's looking really good, and it is a true 1/64 scale truck, just like the Diecast Hawk one is, except this will be much more mass produced. It clearly doesn't look as detailed as the other one. I mean, the other one had an opening hood. It actually, the front wheels steer left and right. It was an incredible car, but it also cost, $32, and this one's going to cost you, $899, $999, depending on where you buy it. If you can find it, if the Hot Wheels Marty McFly truck was any indication, at least the first time it came out, it was funny because the first time it came out, you couldn't find it anywhere. And then the second or third time they released the Marty McFly truck, I found them just warming pegs. I don't know if that was true everywhere, but I used to think, oh, well, there's the Marty McFly truck, I got to buy it. And after the third one, I was like, oh no, I'll just leave them. And they've been around. So speaking of Toyota, Autoworld, the sister brand of Johnny Lightning, has this special event exclusive Supra that's coming out June 8th. So if you're at the National Toyota Fest, that's the only place you can pick it up in this sweet red, orange, and yellow livery. It reminds me of the Celica Supra that I've got on my wall that Mr. John Lambert signed. And so this will be another car for that if you're into Toyotas. All right. Well, we had some guest submissions for news from Kent and Brent. So I'm going to put this one up, and I'm going to let you guys tell me, what do you think about this?
Heck yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
I love that 2-door wagon.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I was looking forward to this. This was one of the ones that when they previewed that, I was like, yep, that's got to come home.
Yeah,
so.
It's really, the thing that does it for me is the window.
I knew you were going to say that.
The window is just so cool. I can't think of, Matchbox did the Morris Minor convertible with the windows up, and I thought that was cool because it had the top down but the windows up. And this one with the window partway down, I can't think of any other diecasts that they've done that anyone's done with the window partway up. So I think that's a really great bit of realism. This one is just screaming customize me. Yeah. So
the windows are normally either up or down. They're normally not halfway. So that is definitely neat. And I actually missed it. So that's cool.
Yeah. No,
so look at that grill and headlamps. Is that part of the black glass piece? What is that? Or is that a whole separate piece?
That is a good question. It
looks
like
it's
painted.
Probably the interior. It's probably the interior would be my guess.
We can't see the seats. You're right.
The interior. The interior could be black. Yeah. Those guys at Hot Wheels, actually getting to go to the show and sit down with the design team and listen to them talk. They're doing such cool stuff now with the cars, and the main lines are just getting better and better, and the premiums are incredible. It was enough to get me to rejoin the RLC after I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not going to deal with it again. And I was like, Then they as soon as they showed the picture of the Barracuda, I was like, yep, I'm rejoining the RLC.
Yeah, so that car came out amazing.
Oh, hold on one second. We've got Kent has got something to share. And where'd it go? There we go. Oh, look at this.
Oh, it's just me.
Yeah.
Well, we might as well answer the question, right?
Rip it and rip it.
Let's see.
Actually, the interior is kind of like a off-white, so it might be just painted.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. If I had a drill bit, we could answer that question.
We could find out.
Well, is it plastic or is it metal?
Looked plastic in the picture.
It looks plastic, but the taillights are blacked out too. So I wonder.
Maybe it's another.
Oh, it's part of the glass piece.
Yeah, it could be. It could just be that it looks black because it's dark. But look at that.
Good looking.
Very cool.
Yep. Looks cool.
All right, we got one more to look at. Let's take a look at this bad boy. What do we think about this?
I'm excited to get this one.
Yeah.
I believe it needs some deep dish Real Rider 5 spokes on it instead of those white walled plastic ones. But other than that, it's an amazing car, and I really think Brenda did a great job on it.
Hey, can y'all school me on this? What are we looking at? What is this car?
It's I'd say about a 53 Mercury, I think is what we're
Okay.
around that area. I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's something special. It's got a name for it. The name
It's the
I'm spacing.
Hirahoto.
Hirahoto. Thank you. Yes.
I think is what it
So
is.
we've got a chrome interior to get to those bumpers. That's pretty cool. Or maybe the base is chrome. Huh.
Well,
good design.
It looks like a chrome interior.
Looks like are those side lights coming out of the hood, or are those?
I bet that, I bet that's part of the
spotlights.
interior.
Yeah.
Those side lights. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Good pick, gents.
I like that one.
I think those are all good. You know, we just had Tony Young from Bright Vision on, and I saw that and I was like, you know, that one is really screaming for those deep dish red lines that he releases. I think that would look really, really good as well. So, all right. Well, those are the pieces that we were excited about. Now we're going to do our small channel shout out really quick. We ran into this guy at the Hot Wheels Collector Nationals. It's Lux Garage. You can check out his description. He's got a relatively new channel and only 308 subscribers as of posting this. So go check his channel out after you've watched this entire episode and liked and shared and all that good stuff, of course. And of course, a reminder that we are actively looking for more contributors to this channel. So if you're interested in providing stuff, like we got Pia posting stuff in our community, our photo posts about news and getting some comments going that way. And he's been great at that. David's been doing his videos and helping keep the show running over here. But if you want to contribute or volunteer, we're always happy to do it. And we may not even make you pay for it like I make Mark and David do. And Pia, he also is paying now. So thank you all. And all right. Well, that's it for what's exciting us in the world of diecast. What's exciting you? Let us know in the comments or in the live chat. Derek is correcting us that it's the Hiro Hata. So thank you, Derek. And we're going to take a quick break so I can clear my throat. And when we come back, we'll have some more with Kent and Brent of Mid-State Collectors Club. So stick around.
Back with more Diecast Breakdown after this word from our sponsors. Legendary Hollywood concept artist and designer Fireball Tim Lawrence has created 3 exclusive pieces of automotive art based on the 3 hosts of Diecast Breakdown. Get these and other brilliant designs printed on mugs and more at fireballtimgarage.art today. Diecast Breakdown would like to thank Diecast Heroes Magazine for supporting this program. Diecast Heroes Magazine is the premier digital and print resource just for diecast customizers. Visit diecastheroes.com and see what the best customizers in the world are up to. The Diecast Media Network store is here. Wear your passion with pride, featuring designs from Diecast Breakdown, Flying Valiant builds, plus unique designs inspired by diecast culture from Justin Ellis. Visit tpublic.com/Diecast Media Network now. If you have a favorite diecast channel with less than 700 subscribers and you'd like to see them highlighted on a future episode, email us at diecastbreakdown@gmail.com. And now back to Diecast Breakdown.
All right. Well, we are back with Kent and Brent of Mid-State Collectors Club. So Kent, Brent, again, welcome. We're so excited to have you on. It was very nice to meet you both in person. I had run into you online before the show when you were doing a live stream with our friend Mike Z about the upcoming event. And I saw you guys talking and I was like, we got to get these guys on the show. So welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you're most definitely welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, can we just clarify real quick? They were in front of us at the line for the autographs.
They were. Look at that. And he was our chase finder.
Brent, Brent, be glad you were in front of Chuck, because if you were behind Chuck,
I know.
Hey, what are you saying?
You would have seen Chuck get thrown out for holding up.
Oh, that was a funny story. That was a funny story. But
you can't hold up those lines. They get mad.
I didn't do it. Brendan did. Brendan.
Blame Brendan.
Yeah, I will actually, because it was a lovely chat. It was wonderful. He was very kind. He actually drew me a little sketch on the card that I brought for him to sign, because he and I had this long discussion when he was on the show about the Herbie Hot Wheels Elites that he did, and I guess that's something that does not get brought up a lot, but it turns out he's a big Herbie fan, as am I. So I brought my card from my monster truck Herbie that I cracked, and he liked it so much he drew a little sketch of Herbie the monster truck on it for me, and then was talking about some RLC stuff. It was very, very fun. And then David was behind me trying to stem off the raging masses. But yeah, so we ran into Kent and Brent in line. I had wanted to see them, give them both customs. So for those who don't know, before the show, I made 10 regular cruise bruisers and 2 chases. I knew I was going to see Mike, and I wanted to give him one of the chases, and I had the others all wrapped up, and I didn't know which one was the chase. And I had a bag, and as I saw people that I wanted to give a custom to, they reached in, and Kent pulled one of the main lines, and Brent pulled the chase. So he gets the one with the real riders and the green fender, and it's got a little extra detailing to it, a little extra chrome paint here and there. But they're both great. You know, I put a lot of work into both of them, and it was really nice to meet y'all and give you guys a custom. So, you know, for those who don't know, let's start at the very beginning. What the heck is the Mid-States Collectors Club?
Well, you know, Brent and I were talking about this, and he said I had to do most of the talking since. So how we started was back in Dallas of 18. I had posed the question to Roy Friend, who runs the Charm City Club out of Baltimore. I said we needed something like we had out in C4 when I lived out in DC, but there was nobody there. We were just a group here, a group there. You know, we're very isolated, and you know it's 2 hours from anything in Nebraska. So I kind of decided, well, I'll make a page and just kind of coordinate all the information, and that's kind of how it started. Fast forward a year, I met this guy in what's probably considered a crack.
It was a toy. It was a toy. It was a toy show. It was a toy show at a sketchy location.
Let's put it this way: it was snowing inside. We were wrapped up in our Hot Wheels blankets, trying to buy solid trade. The pool's cracked. Doors are open. You know, if they had birds flying in, they would have. It was that type of place.
Yeah, it was a weird hotel for a show.
So I decided after not Columbus, but the second Chicago Nationals in 19, I'm going to do it. We're going to put it out there, and we're going to go and put it together. And that was 6 weeks to our first show, and out in Norfolk, and we were literally in the garage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. We had bought a collection, like 1,500, 2,000 cars, and we're pricing these cars in the garage with the lights on, all these bugs biting us, and we're like, "Do you think anybody's really going to show up?" Yeah,
I was like, I think we'll get a few, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing that came out of that show was we had one guy that says, I don't think that this is going to work. That guy, to this day, has not missed a single show with us.
Nice.
And there's been many since that first one. So
yeah.
We've got it kind of figured out now.
That's in a nutshell how it started. It was just an idea trying to get all the guys that are from the eastern third and western third of Eastern third of Nebraska, western third of Iowa, and some folks up around the Sioux Falls area. And from there, it just kind of blossomed out. And we had a lot of help from some folks in Charm City Collectors Club, especially Roy Friend, Dave Baumgardner, Joe Benda, and then the guys from the Northeast Ohio Club, Mike Barnes, Scott Orloff, just encouraging us and supporting us. And then you can't forget Greg Sully Squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, those guys just helping and supporting us, and lots of long phone calls of, you know, well, we tried this, this didn't work. We tried something else. Well, that worked. So we stuck with it. So without those guys, I don't know if we would be where we're at today. And I didn't think we would be where we're at this stage. I thought we would still be struggling to put a show together with 30 tables.
Yeah.
Not, you know,
getting ready to do 110 here in a couple
Oh,
of months.
wow.
So
Yeah. Tell us about the current state of what is somebody going to
there you
see
go.
when they go to this.
Perfect
And
timing.
guys, I grabbed this in Atlanta before we ever met because we always want to get the word out, no matter where the shows are. We want everybody to know about them. So tell us kind of how it's growing and what it's up to now.
Well, we've put on smaller shows, local VFWs, and we've gotten like fire halls and stuff like that. And we have a bar down that we use down in Elmwood, Nebraska, which is called the Quonset Bar and Grill, and they used to be an old skate rink, so we've got that as well. But we've dabbled a little bit here and there with putting on larger shows that are 100+ table shows that are strictly diecast, and this one's going to be our first one underneath our actual club name. We've put on a couple other, helping out some other folks, but this one's definitely 100% ours, and we're looking forward to it. We've got our great friends Lee and Angela coming in from Nuclear Mines and Bombshell Customs, and it's going to be a really, really fun time. I think because we're still 2 months out, and I think we're almost like 85% of the way sold out already. So it's going to be an amazing show. Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I you're getting some good comments here.
Yeah. I see some. Yeah, Mr.
Joe
Joe
saying you guys have done a great putting it together. Lots of hard work from two great guys. Well,
man,
there you go.
Great job on getting. You got some heavy hitters too. Nuclear Mines is doing some amazing stuff, and Lee Allen's one of the coolest guys in our community.
Well, we've known Lee for about it's going on about 6 years, about 5 years, 6 years. We've known Lee and Angela. So they're really, really good friends of ours.
Yeah, and getting Lee here, there's a big thanks to two of our members who have developed a great relationship. And Kent Bono and his wife Terry and their son Braxton have just really blossomed their relationship with Lee and Angela. And I don't think we would be at where we're at, and we would be able to have them just be able to, at a moment's notice, get a hold of them without those two. They really greased the gears and made it so that, when they come out, it's going to be great. It's just going to be a fun, relaxing atmosphere. Our shows are not really, we got to do this. No, we kick back. We're listening to a lot of music as we're playing, so it's not so that dead air quiet,
Yep.
Yeah, it's you got to have the right atmosphere. Exactly.
Always
get the energy going, get the wallets open. So that's really cool. So do you guys do just like the selling events, or there are other type of gatherings that you guys do as well?
Well, the unfortunate part about out in in the Nebraska area, there's not a whole lot going on besides kind of that kind of level of shows. Obviously we go to nationals every year that we can. We've both been to LA once. Kent's actually trying to get to go to LA this year as well. Hopefully. But yeah, there's really never any like the vending tour stops or legend tour stops in this area at all. There's actually been a winner from one of the Legends events that was actually from the Omaha, Nebraska area. I think he was, or might have been from Lincoln, and he actually has the trophy bone shaker because he won the event, but he didn't get to. They didn't make his car, but he had to drive. I think he had to drive to Denver in order to even partake in that. So we had to drive 10 hours just to partake in it.
Wow.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing is Mattel doesn't remember that we're here sometimes. So we're working on that, though. We're working with them and trying to get things done so we can get something like that just popped up in this area.
Yeah, I understand. I'm perfectly situated between Atlanta and Miami. So
yeah, you're good.
Okay, I'm going to go 5 hours either direction.
No.
I know when I went to the first Legends tour stop that was out in Wichita, I took off early from work, drove 5 hours down there, just to make sure I could get that wagon because I wanted that wagon so bad. I ended up having to spend the night, and I was the first person in line actually at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So that was cool. Old Man Diecast, I just wanted to say thank you for the compliment on my room. I appreciate it.
That's Pete. He's a good guy. So, guys, for if there's people watching all around the country, what is the diecast scene in Nebraska? Where do you get cars? Is it the normal stores that we go to all over the country, or is there some cool diecast stores in your area?
Well, there used to be some smaller shops back in the day, about 10, 15 years ago. My favorites were Gene's Toys and Tony's Toys. They were just guys that were just collectors that just had their own stores. But other than that, obviously we had Toys R Us's, but they're no longer. So we've got your traditional, your Targets, your Walmarts. We have Kroger's, but they're actually called Bakers here. We have Dollar Generals. We've got the GameStop. So we've got everything besides, like we don't have any like Myers or anything like that around here. So, but yeah, it's for the most part, mostly all the same stuff.
Good.
There used to be a store in Lincoln called Toys from the Past.
Well, they're still there too,
yeah.
but they focus a little bit more on the action figure side of life now. They used to do a lot for the Hot Wheels, and then I just think that they just kind of started leaning, because with all the action figures and stuff that came out, they just started leaning more towards that direction because that was more of their fan base.
Yeah.
So, but I've picked up quite a few cool pieces from them as well.
I think for me, it's the local show. That is what drives a lot of it. It's where we all get together and just kind of hang out. It's if you don't know this layout, Nebraska's way up north, and Omaha and Lincoln are more towards the south and east, and then you go west, and you got a couple other smaller towns. But what we've learned is we've become road warriors, so to speak.
Sure.
We have this saying: if you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
Nice.
So we will take our show and we'll set up anywhere. We have 2 or 3 spots that we quote unquote hold shows at, but we've made the road trip down to Tulsa to do the T-Town show. We are regulars out at Des Moines with the All Iowa guys, and we've seen Jeff and Barb that's Barb Robles, who works for the convention up at Mason City, Iowa. We've gone down to Kansas City. We haven't made it up to Minnesota. We've been to Sioux Falls, but we'll travel.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I think a lot of people should take the time and do is get out there and go see these other shows, because you'll be amazed, what you'll see there compared to what you'll see back at home. And you get to meet some of these people that you only get to talk to online. And I think that's the best part of it. It's the local show for me.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a good point. I started going to a few toy shows and just for fun, because Florida has a touring toy show group that does cities all over Florida, and they just started coming to Gainesville, which is nice. But I've gone to their one in Tampa and their one in Lakeland, and it's really cool. You get to, there is a lot of diecast there, and there's a lot of other stuff that you don't really think about. And then, to go to the Atlanta show finally and go, holy cow, like just see incredible stuff that, you didn't know existed, and people selling prototypes and people who worked for Matchbox or Hot Wheels or whoever there. I say Matchbox because we ran into this guy that actually worked for Matchbox back in the day and had some of his old prototypes that he saved, and just like what was the Ian Woods, that's the guy's name.
Woods. Yep.
Yeah, we ran into him, and he was really cool. And his son Doug is he's a Model Car Hall of Fame member. He's done all sorts of really cool stuff. He does some really nice customs. He was really cool to meet as well. And again, you meet him by running into these hotel room bazaar style sales things. And so you've been to a lot of shows, a lot of the Collector Nationals, and you've both been to LA. What's the difference between the two?
Well, LA is a little bit different because there's so many things to do in Los Angeles that there's a lot of people that tend to migrate away from the hotels for like a day or so. Like I know when we were there, we went to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I got to go to the Santa Monica Pier. Our friends went to the Peterson Automotive Museum.
Oh yeah.
And they also went to the Hollywood sign. So I mean, there's stuff to do, but there's also it kind of has more of a business feel to it. It's all about exchanging cash for cars, but you can find some really great deals there, and you can find just some amazing pieces that you may not be able to get at your local show in in Omaha, or Lincoln or Norfolk. Those kind of cars aren't there. With the smaller, I mean, they are there, but they're not as far and in between. They're a little bit more scarce.
Sure.
So you get a lot of the current stuff, which is great, and you get a lot of the supers and the RLC stuffs. But when you go to LA or if you go to LA or national events, you get to see stuff that literally goes from the red line era to the brand new stuff. And that's one of the great things about those shows and the nice thing about LA is you get a lot more Mattel presence because it's their home, and you can actually go to the Mattel headquarters as well, which we did
that's cool.
while we were there. So
yeah, that's a good story. There's a lot of things about LA that were good. I mean, I don't know how friendly language wise this show is, but
we can't get it all away. Come on now.
It's okay.
I know where he's going.
The first time Brent got to meet Roy, it was like, "Hi, I'm Brent," and
don't make me sound like a wimp.
Well, you
basically
sounded like that.
I was like, "Hey, I'm like, are you Roy?" And he's like, "Yes." And he said, "Who the bleep are you?" And I had to explain who I was, and we were best friends pretty much the rest of the week. So
I arrived a day later, never doing that again.
No. Yeah, he showed up on like Wednesday afternoon, and I flew in Tuesday afternoon. So
I think for me, oh, sorry, Brent.
No, I was gonna say, they just missing that one day. So
yeah, I think the big difference between nationals and LA seems it's more about business, more about the sale. I mean, we seem to get more bang for the buck out there. And also, especially like Brent was saying on the older stuff, we were picking up black walls. Of course, this was 2018 now, for $5, real riders for 10, now you can't touch an 80s real rider for less than 20 to 30, just to start, even on a bad card. The other thing is nationals is about friendship. It is about seeing those guys and gals that you might get to see once a year. And whether you get to hang out and do things like Cheesecake Factory on Thursday night as a protest to dinner or midnight races or, the death race, or more appropriately called the Hardy Adams. Those type of things are what makes nationals special to me versus LA. But LA, you get to see a lot more designers and all their cool cars. So.
Yeah, that was the main thing, is when they bring their cars out, because back in 2018, Ryu was still he was still with Mattel at the time, and he actually brought out his NSX pace car and stuff like that. And Brendan had the Firebird out there, and Larry had one of his hot rods out there. And in fact, this was something that I actually brought out just in case we brought up LA. And here, let me get it out of this thing so it's not so shiny. If I can operate a protector. We normally just open cars, so we don't have them protectors, but it's just a simple 15 Mercedes AMG. But I was fortunate enough to have Ryu autograph it back in 2018. So
yeah. Look at that.
That's one of my favorites that I have in my collection.
Very cool.
Your story, guys, reminded me when we were interviewing Chuck. We were interviewing Jennifer Milholland, who put on the Atlanta show, and her husband put it together. And he said, "Jennifer, this is a lot of work, and there are a lot of people fussing at petty little things." And I said, "Why do it? Like, why, with all the hassle and with all the organizing?" And she was like, "It's the family. Like, it's seeing you guys, twice a year, or at least, once a year. And Pete made up a good point too. Like, what's really cool about buying at the shows is you get to hold it in your hand before you pay for it. Like, how often do we get to do that anymore? I mean, how much are we buying online now, and to actually get to hold it and look at it before you shell out that money?
Yeah,
That's what I love about the shows, because you've got a small amount of time to look at this car and go, okay, well, is this going to work? And you're trying to see it through a camera, where when you're at the show, you go, okay, well, I don't see anything wrong here. Let's just check it out real quick.
Oh,
I don't even know what he just did there, but
and then you're like, oh,
that's
good. And, that was just a convention car. Nothing to see here, folks.
Look at
But that's the whole idea of the local shows, is you get to put, like you were saying, David, you get to put your hands on it and see it and make sure it is. How do you call that, Brent? What's that term?
The term that I came up with was Kent worthy, because he's originally it was just kind of a joke, but it kind of actually is a standard now, because, and even I've kind of started to lean towards using it as well, because I can show a little bit more here. I don't just have 2 cases down here.
oh wow.
And there's actually 3 more on that side of the room, and there's a whole nother room as well. So,
wow.
But when you're to the size that my collection and his collection are at, when you start getting cars with chipped on it, chips or dings on it, it's kind of like, well, I hate to spend, $100 on a car that has a chip on it. I'd rather spend $300 on a car that is completely mint, that it'll hold its value better. So it gets difficult sometimes when you're looking for things. Sometimes you don't have a choice. If it's a rare car, you just pick it up no matter what the condition's in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really picky. 95% of my collection is loose, and I have to be, because, eventually when I'm no longer here and the little ones aren't wanting this anymore, it's got to get sold. So, you want to try to recover as much as what you can out of it. So you got to have the best cars available. So that's why I'm very particular about what cars I pick up. Now, like Brent said, there are times where you just got to bite the bullet and go, this is the best available, and take it. But yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I we've talked a bit about the group, and we've talked a bit about the shows, but I'm curious. We'll start with Kent, and then we'll go to Brent. At what point did you really get serious about your collection? Like, let's go back. When did you start collecting, and when did you really go, okay, I'm going to get serious about this?
They've been a part of my life since I was a kid. I can remember, like, the first couple of cars I had, one of which is not this car in particular, but it's this casting, the Toyota MR2. This one in particular is a paint sample with the Screecher wheels, I believe.
Screamer wheel.
Or Screecher, yeah. With that wheel on it, I was able to get that. But the other one was the Jaguar XJS, and I remember having that as a kid. It wasn't until I got to high school where I was like, okay, well, I'll get these. I still opened them, but I would put them into a case, and I wouldn't touch them or let them get beat up. I wasn't playing Demolition Derby or Mad Max or anything like that. But yeah, I'd say in high school, and then off and on when I was on the in the military or in the Navy, I would have to take breaks in between. So I'd get a few cars here, and then I'd have to stop because I'd have to move. And that cycle continued until I met the guys in Baltimore. And that's when I would say it really, really went to from in here up to here, so to speak. Brent?
And with me, I started in about 89. I've been collecting my entire life. And as Kent stated, the whole Mad Max theory, this is my actual car from when I was 8 years old. I still have it.
Oh, look at that.
It's basically a Mad Max Road Demon Mercedes 380 SEL, and it still rolls perfectly, and it's got my paint on the bottom of it. So yeah, this was one of my first ones, and I've never stopped. I dabbled in customizing at one point. It did not go over all that well. This is one of my customs that I did back in the day. If anybody knows what it originally looked like. Well,
Is that the orange one?
No. This is what it originally looked like.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It was a very big mistake back in the day when I was a child, but
yeah,
I still have it, and I'm very happy that I still own it, and I can thank Kent for the clean one that's right next to it. So
that's awesome. Well, it was funny the other day. I saw somebody had posted a picture. It was that really rare blue Firebird funny car with the Hot Wheels logo on it.
The 271.
Yeah. And he posted his beat up one that he's had since he was a kid, and he's like, I really wish I'd known what I had. And it's and I disagree with that. Yeah, it's rare, and yeah, it's a shame. But would you have cared about it if you didn't play with it? Like if you had just had it and kept it on a card, as a kid, yeah, maybe. But most of the memories that I made with my toy cars are what got me back into the hobby and got me into customizing, because it's just, for me, it's fun to have your hands on the car and be doing stuff with it. And and again, the beauty of this hobby is there's so much you can do with it. You can collect them, you can put them on the wall, in the cards, out of the cards, you can customize them, you can race them, you can make Mad Max cars and play Car Wars or Gaslands. There's no wrong way to enjoy this hobby. Well, there might be one wrong way to enjoy the hobby, but we'll save that for another day. So with the collections that you have, it's very easy to get overwhelmed with grabbing stuff, especially early on. I'm guilty of this. I ended up, I think at the Nationals, I probably got rid of 3,000 cars from my collection, just because it's very easy to just early on, especially, gather in bulk, like buy old collections and buy a bunch of cheap cars and buy a bunch of whatever. So you both mentioned that you're really much more careful about your cars. So what criterion do you evaluate when it comes to adding a new car to your collection, especially if you're spending $300 on one
or more?
Yeah, that's more of a Brent one.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kent.
I think for me, it's, I'm trying to focus mainly now on Real Rider. I think most of my collection, I would say probably about 80% now, is Real Rider cars. Now that doesn't mean that I've gotten rid of my basic cars, and Blackwall era stuff. Those are the two main areas I keep track of. Is it something that I want? Is it a casting I collect? Because Brent will tell you this, I go down rabbit holes pretty bad sometimes. It's just whether or not it's something I want to have. It doesn't have to be I was guilty of, I got to have every 55 gasser because my collection's not complete if I don't have every 55 or every Silverado or every Skyline or whatever latest, greatest casting is. And it got me into some cars that I was like, well, they're cool, but they don't really fit me. So I guess it's whatever you like at the moment. That's the simplest way to describe it. Brent?
Yeah, and with me, it's pretty much the same thing. It's, do I like it? And, that's a neat casting. And I say that, I was like, that's one of my favorite castings. I have a lot of favorite castings. But when it comes to spending the kind of money that we're talking about, sometimes you get lucky and you spend next to nothing on a car, and it ends up being worth an astronomical money. But that's never been the goal, was to build an expensive collection. For me, it's just always, I like that car. And I've been fortunate enough to have great friends, been involved with other diecast pages early on, and I've been able to pick up a lot of cool stuff for some pretty reasonable money. I've had friends give me things that are prized possessions. It just, I mean, everybody freaks out about so many cars out there. I mean, this is one of the hot cars that people are always. Let me get this thing out of here.
No.
God, I remember that sale.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Superior to Correct 190 Mercedes. I paid $26 for this car. And if anybody knows what these things are going for, it's in the 1,200 plus range sometimes. I had 3 of them at one point.
I had 5.
Due to that car was selling one of those, I ended up with one of these.
Oh, wow.
And along with that one, you might as well get some other ones too.
Very nice.
So selling, buying a $26 car ended up getting me some harder to get cars that I'll have in my collection for years and years to come. So it's just one of those things where you collect what you like. Don't follow the hype trains of the new black chases or the supers. If you find a super, sure, pick it up. But if it's something that you don't 100% want, say you find a Skyline and you're a Ford guy or a Chevy guy, trade that car for a couple of other ones to make your collection fit you better instead of just going, I got to have them all. Because I know at one point I was buying 2 of everything no matter what it was. And it gets out of hand real fast.
Which explains why he has 7 of some things.
I have hundreds of some things, but normally they're Mercedes. So
I understand. I get guilty of that. I'll find a mainline that I'll really like, and I'll buy 8 of them, and I don't know why. And I'm like, why did I buy 8 of these AMC Eagle wagons for Matchbox?
Because
I mean, I like it. I don't need 8. I got rid of a bunch of them, and I still have 4. Just because I'm like, well, I might customize one day, and I might feel like customizing another. And I'm like, Chuck, you have like 10,000 cars in your collection. If you customized a car a day, you'd have the rest of your life booked out for customizing. But yeah, I get it. Like I said, it's very easy to go overboard on it. So, I've been trying really hard to be a lot more measured on stuff, because initially my rule was that I'd have 3. I'd have 1 to keep stock, 1 to customize, and then if I felt really strongly about it, I could have another to customize. And, and really quickly that ends up getting you a bunch of cars, and they're just all piled up. So, I'm trying to be better about that, trying to I think we had a seller on, and his whole thing was, always make sure you can have rent money. He always tries to make sure that the people that are, RDDC. Mike was great. So,
and look around too, guys. Like if you happen to be a young collector and you're trying to figure out, like Chuck said, you can get overwhelmed. There's so many places to buy cars now. It is not just what's on the shelf at Target and Hobby Lobby. The amount of cars that are available online will absolutely blow your mind.
Oh, sure.
Talk about collecting what you like. I just happened to see these really cool Volvos that are almost like dealership exclusive stuff. Like,
nice.
If you like street cars like me and you're that type of collector, we got you covered, man. You can absolutely find anything in the world online. So that's what I encourage everybody to do, is get on the internet and look around and just Google the craziest car. What do you got, Kent?
So you mentioned the Volvo. Our second-year club car was originally supposed to be the GMC Cyclone. And we couldn't, for the life of us, we could not get enough of them. So we're like, hey, why don't we be...
There was no we involved with this. This was Kent's decision.
Anyway, we decided we're going to go with the 850 Estate Wagon. Well, the first gen one they put out is the white and blue one, right?
The rally one, yeah.
Yeah. So if you know that car and you know how it was put together, it went old school 80s with the, like the old flat out 442s, where they've got that little piece of plastic that sits out in between the body and the base. Yeah. So I didn't realize that at the time. Well, our customizer who was doing that, Mr. Dave Baumgartner, he got a little frustrated with that.
Well, now hold on. You forgot a part. With the casting, because it has have that center section in it. The one that he just found one to mock up so he could get it ready to go for us to have a picture to show the club members. So he had gotten a different version that had a different middle piece, because the white one has a blue piece, and the one that he used had a white one. So he had to paint all of the interiors to match his artwork. So this was not our fault. This was his. But yeah, he gracefully decided to show his frustration, and he lit one on fire and sent it to Ken.
Because they did the black one, which is what this was originally and it was exactly what we were wanting, but this didn't come out for a year later.
Right.
So he channeled his inner Roy and lit it on fire as a say thank you to us. And if I could, here we go. I've got all of our club cards here with us that are Apple. But this is the Real Rider version of what that ended up with. It's very different than what we normally do, but this was our second year car. So it was cool. It was a bold choice, but it kind of backfired, I think, a little bit from some other things. And then this is probably the other club car that I'm probably most proud of. This was our very first year. Now, these are the gold cars. For those of you who are part of our club, know what you get these for. If you do something that is beneficial towards the hobby or the club, you get awarded one of those. And there's only maybe 12 or 15 of those that are made a year. You have to do something special, and it's not like you're doing it to try to get attention. It's something that someone
thank you.
And
they can't be bought. The only time they were actually ever able to be bought were they were donated to the Collectors Nationals charity auction that in the last two conventions. We didn't have our one ready for this year, but this one will be. This is our next year's. This is the regular version, so this is the standard club version of our car for this year.
510. Looking good.
Yeah, and then this is done by our great friend Nick Artery, and he's doing them all in-house. And this is our 5th year car, so it's got the Japanese 5 on the back and the Mid-States logo. And our friends from Mr. Nuclear Mines over there, Mr. Lee Allen's going to be helping out with the card art on these. So, yeah, these are... Yeah, this is a 5-year in the project or in the process project that we're almost done with. So, but yeah,
that's amazing, guys. That is going to be a killer model right there.
Yeah, and there's only going to be 70 of them for sale, so we're pretty sure they're going to sell out pretty fast. So we're excited about that.
We're hoping.
Yeah. I can't imagine making 70 customs. Well, my customs are a little different; they're a little more unique, but as you've seen. But that's really cool. Now, we got a few minutes left here, but I got to ask, because when we talked about things that we wanted to talk about, you put in Ferrari debate. So is this when we're talking about Ferrari? Are we talking about the fact that Ferrari is not on Hot Wheels anymore?
Always.
Yeah. I'm a huge Ferrari collector. I have over 200 different not castings, but different variations, some of the same casting, and I love it. It's one of my favorite car companies. We get asked all the time whether or not it's going to come back. And I just don't see it happening. I don't see it from a cost of license perspective. I don't see it from the amount of restrictions that are placed on Mattel. You can only do so many colors. Can't have flames. God forbid it have flames.
Yeah, the Ferrari had a lot more leeway. I think they gave a lot more leeway back in the early 90s and late 80s.
Sure. Yeah, it's funny when we had Larry on, I asked him about licensing and he was like, no, I just picked the car and did it. And then the car company thanked me for picking their car, and now you got to jump through all these hoops. We're talking with Louis Tanahara, and he's got his new line of cartooned cars coming out, and the amount of hoops they're having to jump through over there with getting licenses for vehicles, and it's just a whole process. So
Mattel had a little bit more leeway back in the 90s.
Look at that. Yeah, you wouldn't get away with that on a Ferrari today.
No.
Yeah.
And then there's
oh yeah.
Yeah, there's some dogs out there.
These are gorgeous.
Yeah,
these things are their time. They're stunning and they're hard to find. So
the green flame 550 Maranello, that's the one I think everybody points to as being the one that kind of did it in. But I think the other thing is they put something out that they weren't supposed to yet. They released something early before Ferrari said they could release it.
Oh,
and that was the thing that I had heard for years is what did them in. But I know a lot of people want it. I just don't see it happening. And it gets to a point sometimes where we just kind of want to tell people, just drop it. It's not going to happen. Just forget it. Be happy with Ferraris that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. We have a question from the audience. So Dan Mathewson asked, what do you think is the best and worst RLC of all time?
Ooh.
It's a good question.
Well, I don't have one, but the one that pops out right away is the shift kicker. That's the guy where he's sticking out he's got his hand on the shifter, and it looks like
I like that.
Kind of like a modified stage fright.
I think
for me, my favorite RLC piece, it would be one of the. Well, I don't have it yet. It's the Chameleon R34.
That's currently en route, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember the Chameleon Custom 240. I got told I couldn't open that, and I proved that person wrong like 3 seconds later.
You absolutely can.
See, for me, it's one of those things. I mean, I can the antifreeze Silverado is gorgeous. This is another really good one.
Yeah. Rub it in.
I had to, Kent. It was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I saw the picture beforehand.
Yeah. So there's my. But as for the worst, man, I don't really know. Mattel doesn't do a lot of bad RLC stuff. They've done a lot of great stuff over the years, and they've gotten better and better at, I believe, kind of figuring out what the collectors want. I mean, this is, as Kent said, the R34 is a really, really nice one. There's just a lot of great cars. I'm trying to think of an RLC that was a bomb, in my opinion. And
well, just think about the purple or the blue Boss 302, how that thing sat out there for days.
Yeah.
And now you can't touch that for $200-$300, or at least that's where it was at. And
it's funny you bring that up, because this was another one that sat in the pegs in the RLC for about a week.
Really?
Yeah.
I figured the Golf livery would make it fly off the shelf.
Well, you got to remember, this was also back when they only made 6,000 cars.
Yeah.
Wow. Where, the Candy Striper is 4,000, but this blue one is 12.5.
Yeah.
But for some reason, this one brings more than this one, because it's a Skyline. And
I was going to say it's the R34 tax.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to talk about ridiculous cars that are worth insanely too much money, this is the quintessential car that makes absolutely no sense. This is the RLC. It was the Gumball 3000 Extras, Gumball 3000 Aventador that was left over. There was very few of these that made it out the door through the RLC. This thing has plastic body, plastic base. Well, it's a metal body, but it's plastic base and plastic wheels. And the tampos are not really the best on it. But it's like an $800 or $900 car now.
But it doesn't have real riders.
It does not have real riders.
It's not Kent worthy.
No. Well, he's talking. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a whole nother problem.
That's
but it was. I paid $26 for it, and it got $25 shipped to the house, and now it's worth whatever it's worth. I haven't looked into it lately, but it's just one of those cars that no one understands why they bring what they bring. You know, I understand that it's a desirable car, but sometimes they don't make sense.
Last true 647 best does not always equal most expensive.
No,
that is for damn sure.
And rare doesn't equal valuable always.
That's true too.
You know,
that's very true.
Got to be the right mix of things,
and it's got to be the right car for the right people too. So.
Yeah, I haven't really been into the RLC stuff that long, so I can't really think of it because I've only been really grabbing them for a couple of years now. So
didn't they have one with the Neo wheels recently? Was it a Corvette? They put those.
I can't remember.
They did a Camaro with the foil card on and with Neo Classic wheels on it. I remember that.
And there was a black Corvette Stingray from a couple of years ago that had Neo Classics on it as well. Probably the black one with the red stripe on it.
Yeah, and then they had the club car Camaro, custom Camaro that was black that had Neo Classics on it too. You know, people say, if it doesn't have real riders, it's not going to be worth valuable. It's just, I don't know what those people are talking about.
Yeah,
they've never gotten a hold of one of where to go. One of these.
Because
this thing has plastic wheels, base. It's cheap, but it's kind of hard to find. So
yeah. Well, cool. And the other thing we wanted to talk about was greed. So let's Kent had some thoughts on greed.
You know, just because a car is selling for, I'll just grab this one here. You know, say this one's selling for whatever it's selling for. I paid $40 for it at convention. I would rather help a friend and give it to them, or just say, here, cost, than try to get, I need $65, $85, $95, whatever it be, to make sure that I can get my costs covered and do all this other stuff. And it's like, you know, you come for the cars, but you stay for the friends. And
sure.
I watched a lot of people like, this car is worth this. It's not worth that. It's what you're willing to pay for it. And I think, you know, the relationship between them, you know, if us as sellers wouldn't pay, you know, $150 for this, would this be $150? I don't think so.
Yep.
You know, and I just see that limit get pushed more and more and more and more and more every day, week, whatever you want to call it. I just think the greed's getting out of control, and I think it's going to end up killing the hobby for a little bit. It won't kill it completely.
No.
There's too many people. That's kind of what my thoughts are. Oh, that's a pretty Skyline.
Which one?
King Nissan's picture.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Very
well,
nice.
You know, the thing that surprised me, I saw a lot of stuff at the Collector Nationals, but the weirdest thing was the people walking around with their club cars that they had just bought on lanyards around their neck with the price tag on it.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, I guess if it works for you, but that doesn't seem like you were very excited about getting this car. You just wanted to flip it. And I get that, you know, there is the certain, there is, like you said, you know, you get this car because you could trade it for something else or whatever, but it feels like look, the cars are still available and you're already hawking them for, you know, $80-$90. My favorite thing about the Collector's Nationals was seeing one guy posted a video of his like 8-year-old daughter with the cowabunga from the dinner thing, cracking it open and rolling it around on the table. And
they actually do that every year. Last year in Columbus, she ripped the Sylvia.
Nice.
And she's been coming for quite a few years, and they normally
cool.
go, she rips the dinner car every year.
All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was wild. Like I it was David and my first year going to a Hot Wheels show, and it surprised me. Like we had a hunch that it might sell out fast, but I didn't realize how fast. Like everything was just like the second the dinner went up, it was gone. The second the hotel rooms opened up, it was gone. Just the tickets to get there were gone in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I was 5 minutes late to get tickets, and I had to beg, bargain, and barter my way to get in and be like, look, we're doing a show here. I need to get in. And fortunately there were some standby tickets or some cancellations or whatever, and I was able to get in. But yeah, David was there minute one, and he was able to get his tickets. But yeah, they sell out fast. So if anybody's thinking of going, either be a member of the newsletter, or and even then, I'm sure the newsletter tickets sold out real fast. We were going for the general public ones. So
yeah, the general or the newsletter one they went up on Friday, and they were sold out in less than a minute. And for LA, and and it's stressful because, like, when we were in Atlanta, you spend all day long in and out of hotel rooms, in and out of hallways, and down in the lobby, and where all the events are taking place, and you kind of see the same people. And then on the finale night, it seems like there's an extra couple thousand people that you've never seen before.
Sure.
And there's a lot of people that buy tickets, show up, get their cars, and leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come back for dinner if they get dinner tickets, and then they leave. And then they come back for the finale, and they get their cars, and they leave. They're not there for the room-to-room trading, the seminars that Mike and Willie and Joe Alvarado and all of those great guys put on to help educate the collectors. They're the ones that this kind of falls back into the greed thing. They're there to buy the cars so they can instantly get them up on eBay or whatnot, or whatever app they're using to get them sold for the most money they can. And that's one of the things that seems like it's kind of hurting some of these national level shows, is there's too many people that are in it for, as Kent put it, it's the greed. And they don't want to come to buy cars and go room to room shopping and cross grail cars off their list that they've been hunting for years. Sure. They're just in it for a quick buck, and they do it with shoes and T-shirts and Supremes and everything else. So, it's one of those things where you get lucky. So
whatever widget's selling. Yeah,
exactly. And we've been fortunate enough to go for quite a few years in a row now, and hopefully we'll be down in St. Louis here in April. So,
yeah. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, well said. So, well, guys, we have been going for a while. I can't believe how fast the time has flown. But we really appreciate you sticking around a little extra and chatting with us. So, again, for people who want to know more about Mid-State Collectors Club, what can they do? How can they find your shows? What's the best way to connect with you?
Well, I had put it in there earlier. Let's see if it's still there. This is a link. I just posted it to our YouTube page. Okay. If you want to follow us on Facebook, you just
everyone look in the comments to get that, and we'll link to that as well in the show notes. I think we already do. I think we tagged you, but check out the YouTube channel for sure. And you've got the Facebook page as well. And
there's an Instagram account.
Yeah, all under the same name.
Yeah.
The big thing is just come say hi to us. We like talking to people.
Absolutely.
We never say no.
Yeah, and you guys are streaming all the time too. You guys have your own streaming show. You got Mike Zarnock showing up all the time, chatting with you. It's pretty wild. And Mike is how I found out about you guys, because he posted the link on his Facebook, and I'm really glad he did.
Yeah,
so that was a good night.
Yeah, that was very fun. But so again, guys, check out Mid-State Collectors Club at those links. They'll be in the show notes, and they will be tagged as well. So again, Kent, Brent, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a delight getting to know you guys a little better. And check out that show in July 27th.
Yep,
Where is that?
You guys.
Fremont?
Yep, Fremont, Nebraska.
Fremont, Nebraska. Go check that
Lee
out.
Allen, Angela, Bo.
It'll be a great time.
We're gonna have a good time.
All right.
Appreciate y'all having us on.
Yes, thank you very much. We
wonderful.
appreciate it.
It's been a delight. And, again, thank you for being on. And thank you, watchers, listeners, wherever you are. If you're listening to us on your podcast app, we appreciate you being here. And, of course, our YouTube friends, thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, all that stuff. What we got going over here?
I was just torturing people.
Okay, he's just waving a 55 at Gasser.
Yeah.
But so again, shout out to our patrons who make this show go. If you want to join their ranks, you can visit diecastmedianetwork.com or diecastbreakdown.com or click the little join button down below. If you want to just become a member on YouTube, that's a great way to support the show, pay for all the streaming content, that the equipment that we use to make this show possible, the hosting, all of that stuff. It comes directly from our patrons. And again, a shout out to our co-host in absentia, Mark. Mark, we miss you. We're looking forward to catching up with you soon. And thank you, watchers, listeners, wherever you are.
Mark.
And 510 for Mark. 510's out for Mark. And as always, we want to thank you for coming along with us for the ride. So until next time, stay fresh, cheese bags.
Thanks.
Bye.